Democracy? Democracy.
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 Democracy is not what these people need. Hell, it's not even what they want.
Democracy.
Democracy! Call of Duty Advanced Warfare trailer just came out. Hi folks, I'm Chris Waters, joined by Erick Tay, here to talk about the leak, about the trailer, and about what we're gonna see in Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, starting with Democracy, the guy who says that, Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, big Kevin Spacey, man. Like, I think everyone on the internet was going crazy. You know,
Yeah.
that's the draw, I guess.
Well, people are psyched about Kevin Spacey. I mean, he's a great actor, obviously, like drawing a lot of attention recently for House of Cards. And in this, you know, in that one, he plays sort of this manipulator on the political scene. And here we sort of see his role taken to another extreme. He's now the head of this PMC, private military corporation, and is sort of meddling in the foreign affairs of countries who he doesn't believe are ready for democracy. It's nice to have a villain. But Call of Duty has had some good villains in the past. I'm thinking specifically of the guy from Black Ops 2, Raul Melendez, who was like really nasty. So it'll be interesting to see if Kevin Spacey goes real nasty or like how that progresses. But you know, obviously in terms of setting, this is another globetrotter. You're gonna be fighting on the Golden Gate Bridge, and you're gonna be in these countries, far afield. Where do you think you're gonna end up in this thing?
I don't even know. I mean, it's weird. Like you said, we did see the Golden Gate Bridge. It's like just typical, I guess. But you could go anywhere, really. I mean, like there's all these countries that aren't ready for democracy, right? Maybe we're gonna have to go there.
And you think that you can just march into these countries based on some fundamentalist religious principles, drop a few bombs, topple a dictator, and start a democracy?
Let's talk multiplayer then, because there are a bunch of gadgets that we saw in the trailer, starting with the different degrees of suits. So run us through what we got going down the line.
So it kind of seems like there's like, you know, like the man and the machine mixed together. You know, you kind of got that Elysium feel. And then you kind of have like an armored version of that, like where it just like kind of covers the soldier, kind of like G.I. Joe-ish in a way.
A little more heavy duty.
Yeah, and then you have your like third tier, which is like kind of like a mech with a big chain Gatling gun on it.
Yeah, that giant dude, and like that thing would like encase him entirely and like not be very mobile, but does that big boom, 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 boom. So like the thing that obviously they look slick, like the design of Call of Duty's sort of futuristic stuff is always really neat. But what about the abilities? Jumping, sort of that power jump, we see that a lot, so that's obviously going to factor hugely into gameplay. Abilities like that, stuff that like you would imagine operate on a cooldown, like you can do that jump. I mean, what's to stop you from doing that a bunch in combat? You know, this kind of stuff coming into Call of Duty. Do you see the series taking influence, taking sort of a departure from the, a further departure from the modern warfare roots and getting more fantastical?
I mean, maybe. I mean, it's hard, like, because we don't know all the perk systems and whatnot yet, but we know that there's an emphasis on the exoskeleton suits and like how that's going to evolve the game. So it's going to be interesting to see how Cloak works in Call of Duty, and then the super jump. But like you said, it's probably cooldown based, so you can't just spam it. But it'll be interesting to see what players do tactically with these new abilities, I guess. But again, it's kind of like Titanfall-y, so we'll see.
Yeah, well, which one are you interested in personally? Like, which one would you pick? What do you got?
I think Cloak probably, because I don't know if the super jump necessarily. I mean, like, unless maybe capture the flag. Maybe capture the flag. Maybe it's good for that.
Oh, okay, all right.
Something like that. So maybe abilities for different modes, but hopefully this spices it up. I don't know.
All right, well, let's move on to vehicles. We've got a bunch they showed off in the trailer as well. Number one, I think the coolest one we saw, hoverbikes.
Yeah.
Hoverbikes.
Yeah.
What do you, I mean, all right, is this just another like snowmobile sequence? It's gonna be, very linear during the campaign and you're not gonna see it at all in the multiplayer? Or do you think they're gonna like get a little bit more, give us a little more leeway with vehicles this time?
I mean, it'll be interesting to see. There hasn't been too many usage of like actually like driving or like controlling the vehicles in previous Call of Duties. I think the last one we may have saw was maybe Black Ops 2, where you
certainly
get the helicopter.
Multiplayer.
Yeah, multiplayer. Yeah. I think you'll definitely see it in single player. Of course, like I think a lot of the vehicles you see in the trailer you'll see in single player. It'll be interesting to see if they actually implement that into multiplayer to maybe change things up. Maybe you get that hover bike sooner, and then maybe you have to deal with it now.
If you were to have that though, you'd need the maps to be much bigger. I mean, if you're talking about having pilotable vehicles in their proper, they aren't just perks that sort of come in once and exist, like the helicopter sort of outside of the map. You're talking about fundamentally changing the design and, you know, certainly broadening the kind of space that you cover, getting into almost some Battlefield territory. Do you think they would try to sniff that out a little bit?
I mean, I feel like with Ghost, right? Like they started to get maps that were bigger than your normal Call of Duty maps. Now there weren't very many, and I think they had those probably for specific map types.
Yeah.
But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they tried a little bit. I mean, like even Battlefield tried the Call of Duty, right, with close quarter combat
Very
stuff.
true, very
so
true.
At some point, you're gonna have to innovate past what Call of Duty does. I mean, as long as it still plays like Call of Duty, I think having the map be a little bit bigger, it's fine. But we'll see.
And if you've got these, you know, these power suits that can maybe make you run faster, jump farther, you can cover that distance more feasibly if you're on foot, then maybe you've got some parity there that allows the hover bikes to make it in.
Yeah.
What about walking tank? You see the tank just like,
Yeah.
I'm on tank treads, now I'm up on my tank legs, now I'm shooting laser beams at enemies. Like, is that just sort of the... Hey, what do you think about a tank with legs, man? I don't know.
I find it hard to believe that that's going to be a multiplayer.
That would be
I think
pretty
another
serious, yeah.
Sweet single player edition. Because like it's usually like Call of Duty 6-on-6 usually, right? So I don't know. Maybe ground warfare?
Yeah.
You
No,
know?
you would need some serious anti-vehicle weaponry if you're bringing that thing into multiplayer. So I think it's safe to say that'll be a single player domain only, maybe some kind of like spec ops or like a co-op mission type thing. But
What about that directed energy weapon though?
oh yeah, shooting like blue lasers.
Maybe
Pew,
that
pew.
kills that? Or the
Yeah,
hovercraft?
yeah,
Or hover
or-
bike, sorry?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. It's fun to speculate about all this stuff, of course, and we want you guys to speculate with us. Obviously, the trailer's been out for a couple hours now, not even a full day, but speculation is running rampant. Please join us in the comments below. Sound off on what you think you saw in that trailer, what you want to see, what you're hoping for from Advanced Warfare, and let us know.
Democracy.
Democracy.
America's been trying to install democracies in nations for a century, and it hasn't worked one time.